Hi, I'm Doug from Dynamic Computing, and welcome to episode 111 of 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast. Now, it might feel like there were very few Retrocasts this month, and it's true, I only did one other official one. That's because I've been pretty darn busy in October. Number one, I've been really busy with the Amiga Art Contest, getting all of the pictures, animations, mods, videos in, and putting them in order, reformatting them so they work perfectly on my Amiga 1200, and that's actually really time consuming. Next, early this month, I did a presentation with Jim Drew's CRX show, and I'll put a link right here, and there'll be one in the description too. There I covered productivity software for the Commodore 64. It was a great show, and you should check out his channel. Next, I was on with Amiga Bill, and we did a couple of hours talking about the Amiga Art Contest. There's that name again. That was a lot of fun. That was in early October. Then it was off to Sacremento for the AmiWest show, where I gave another presentation. So see, I was really busy. Every single week I had projects related to the Amiga Retrocast, but just not making an actual video. I'll have links to all the stuff I did, both here and in the description. As I mentioned, middle of October, I went to AmiWest 2021. Now, AmiWest, here's their logo. They've been doing this for almost 25 years now. Brian Deenan, Jerry Gray, the crew, man, they do a fantastic job. And it is the United States' largest Amiga-centric production. It's really a lot of fun. Now, 2019 was the first year that I went there. And I was there live and I gave a presentation. Look at that, another link. There's lots of those. But last year, obviously, most of us could not do much traveling. So everything was virtual. They had a couple people at the show, but just a skeleton crew. Most everything was virtual. I did a virtual presentation. And then on Sunday of last year, I also hosted a 7-hour Zoom meeting of a bunch of Amiga luminaries who stopped by. People stopped by, talked, chat, gave little presentations. It was a lot of fun. And guess what? Another link. They're just everywhere. They're dropping like flies. Now this year, 2021, it was a fairly busy show. We had quite a few people there, although our European and Canadian friends who would normally show up couldn't make it because of the travel restrictions. It's just too much of a bother to have to come over and then quarantine for 2 weeks. But we still had a lot of people, and we still had a lot of people presenting remotely. Let's talk a little bit about the show and what happened at the show. We'll start with my favorite part, which is, of course, well, me. I brought several Amigas to the show. I brought my Amiga 1000, which is this lovely little beast right behind me here, with my Vampire. I bought this machine originally in 2019 at AmiWest, and I've updated the daylights out of it, and I'm not done yet. There's more to go. I brought my newly rebuilt Amiga 3000 here, and we had a lot of fun with that, using Chucky Hertel's Re-Amiga board. And I brought my old Re-Amiga board that I presented on my show a couple of weeks ago, the one that had the issues with RGB and the one that has issues with the actual CPU. And Chucky gave me the thumbs up to sell that at an incredibly discounted price, and our good friend Alex Perez picked that up, and he's already got it up and running. I've also brought my beautiful Amiga 600 from my friend Sanxian, aka Tim Drew. We were presenting the new Turbo Tomato game on that for a lot of the show, and lots of people sat down and gave that game a go and gave it the old thumbs up. And then my Amiga 1200, which is what I did my presentation on Sunday on, is my Amiga 1200. It hosted all of my pictures, all of my animations, and all of my mod files that I played for my Sunday presentation. And lastly, I brought my Amiga 2000, the one that starred in my Amiga 2000 adventure video. I don't know if I can fit any more links here. I think I've already gone through all 5 I'm allowed, but if I can put one more, there's a link to the Amiga 2000 Adventures. This is the machine that I built from a conglomeration of parts that I had from 3 different Amiga 2000s. And I took the best parts from all 3 of them, built up a new machine, put in a Terrible Fire in it, Stephen's Terrible Fire, put in a nice RGB to HDMI with the the RGB to HDMI board from our friends at RetroRewind.ca, and I sold that to a really great guy who is fairly new to the Amiga market. He really just got into it a year or so ago, and he's wanted a big box Amiga, so I sold him that, and now he's got this gorgeous big box Amiga. We had a great time getting to know each other and setting up the Amiga 2000, going over everything in it. It was a lot of fun. Now, my Amiga 3000 was hooked up to my VLab card, which Chris, aka Mr. Toast, sold to me from the club a couple of years ago. And you'll see scrolling by here a couple of the awesome 0.3 megapixel pictures that I took on the VLab from people who visited my booth at the show. And it's a lot of fun. You just hook up your video camera to it, same camera I'm using now, hook it right up to the VLab, and boom, like that, it just captures images literally like a digital camera. It's really kind of cool. So we had a lot of fun with that. One of the visitors, a picture you see right here, happens to be Eric from the awesome Pixel Gaiden podcast, which you need to listen to. We had a great time drinking a few beers, chatting. He came back to the room with my wife and I, and we spent a good hour just getting to know each other better before we all went down to the banquet for AmiWest, where we had a really great time and a really great meal. Brian Deenan did a great job putting the banquet together again this year. Great job, Brian. Now, my good friend Francis Gradell from Retronics.com up in Canada, he was a sponsor of the show, and so he sent me a box of goodies to represent him and sell at the show. And one of them would be the delightful RGB to component adapter that I've talked about in one of my other videos. I'm sure I'm out of space for links, so I'll put the link in the description. These are great, and they can display on many component monitors. Not all of them, but many of them. And the picture quality, fantastic. We sold quite a few of these, and a couple were given away as prizes. Then there were these great little USB to 9-pin joystick adapters. These you hook up to your WinUAE machine, your Mini-Mig, your Raspberry Pi machine running Amiga, and you can use an actual 9-pin Atari-style joystick, even a multi-button one, right on your emulation machine. It's really kind of cool, and we sold a ton of these. And he also had some of the 23-pin, actual 23-pin connectors, like this one, that have been so rare the past couple of years since no one was manufacturing them. And he and Jeff Burt of Hey Burt fame got together and produced about a quadrillion of these. If you need some, they have them. Now, Steve Clifford of retropassion.co.uk fame also was a sponsor of the show. So he sent me some pens to give away and some business cards, and so I represented him a little bit at the show. Great guy. You love him. Now, some rascal at the show pocketed at least 2 of those RGB to component adapters without paying for them. I don't know who it is. I was away from my booth for a while. You know, you're talking to people, helping them out, and 2 of them ended up missing. So if you're watching this video and you stole 2 of those adapters, do the right thing, get in touch with me, send me the money so I can get it sent off to Francis. Jay Miner is watching you. Let's jump into some video footage of the show itself and get to know some of the people who were representing at the show. Take a look.
Let's see if it actually does work.
So our good friend Mr. Toast here, which is his real name, here at AmiWest. Yay! He brought in some cool stuff to show off, and he also found this awesome little super disk drive, an MSD super disk drive. Now
we got an error.
The unique thing about this is it not only has the IEC interface on it, but if we can turn it around real quick, can you turn around there?
I'm gonna have to.
Chris, I mean Mr. Toast. It not only has IEC on here, but it also has the IEEE 488 like the PET does. So in theory, it would work on a PET, and also if you had the interface on your Commodore 64, it would be blazingly fast, really fast parallel interface. And it sort of works, huh? On the first test?
It aired out, but it could be just a really botched disk.
Yeah.
Disks from a junk pile.
But it definitely was reading the disk.
Yes.
So worst case scenario, you take it apart and you clean it up, and maybe it's just yucky heads, maybe it's a bad disk.
And it weighs about 14 pounds, too.
Cryptic hacking codes he's using there. Load.
Toastified.
Quote, comma, 8. Well, we got a directory.
All right, that's good.
See, this is progress. If you get a directory out of one of these drives, it's repairable one way or another. It's going to work one way or another. Maybe, in theory. And we've captured Robert Bernardo's attention here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Interested in this new
I
MSD
enabled
drive.
that, but I didn't know how. So disable the internal 54.
This machine that Chris has
okay, got it.
is an actual
Okay, very good, very
Ultimate
good.
64
I knew there was a way to get around.
in a nice little
So the MSD is working.
case. Look at the color on this case.
Because these MSDs,
Absolutely
I mean,
beautiful.
when they get old, they just leak. They have.
Sorry, we're ruining your video, all right?
Nope.
They leak
Nope.
capacitors
Candid.
all over the place.
I got work to do then.
Terrible when they leak capacitors. Because there are dozens and dozens of capacitors. And I've handed these over like to Ray Carlson for several years. And here's another leaking one, Ray. And he hates doing that because they eat into the boards and all that.
Right. Well, I got
And
some
then-
work to do. I'm sure to clean those.
And then, well, now he's given up. Lately I've given him singles drivers.
Now over here we've got a beautiful Amiga X5000 with a budding artist showing off some of his work.
And the rest, the real drivers,
This is actually old stuff.
those were in the past.
Oh, look at that. AmiWest
99.
1999. Right before the end of the world in 2000. Oh, wait, the world didn't end in 2000. There's AmiWest 2000. That's really cool. Some of the old logos from back in the day. Well, they all created on the Amiga, right?
Yep. Image effects.
All in Image Effects, one of my favorite programs to use. Here we have our competition computer for the Aqua Adventure game, the pinball game. So what's the current high score? Still 18 million? And people still have a little bit of time to enter their scores, huh?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, mine was just under 5 million, so I wasn't even in the running. So maybe I'll try it again. But it's a great pinball game.
The trophy you can win.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at the prize here. Oh my goodness, that is too cool. Who made this one?
I did.
You made it.
Yeah, 3D printed, custom 3D printed trophy. We do it every year now. So.
I remember the ones from 2019. They were nice.
Yeah.
I was winning the Mod Surfer competition back in 2019. I had that thing in the bag, and then this guy comes in the last 5 minutes. It's like, I beat your score by 10 points or whatever. You know, it was more than that, but
Nice.
I'm not bitter though. That's really cool. That's an awesome job right there. And it's an actual little pinball table, 3D printed, with a shark jumping out. Taking a little video for the show, sir. Is this your first time at AmiWest, sir?
No, it's my 24th time.
24th time.
Yes.
Brian, you guys do such a great job here. So pleased. So, what kind of equipment are you showing off today?
Well, this is my Amiga 1000,
Oh ho ho.
the beginning of the Amiga line.
Uh-huh.
And this is the Amiga 5000 over here,
Uh-huh.
displaying the Rebel programming language.
Uh-huh.
And all the little widgets they have available for it. But that isn't even half the story about that. If you go to infocessories.com, you can see the rest of the story.
Infocessories.com. I'll
Yeah.
put that link in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're doing a 25th show next year, so if you haven't come, it should be a blowout.
I keep bugging everyone to show up. So.
I know you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Don.
And look at these clever little Amiga 700s here that he made. He's got an old, looks like a Lenovo.
It's a ThinkPad, yeah.
And the old, is it an IBM ThinkPad or a Lenovo ThinkPad?
Well, Lenovo IBM. It's a 410.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
got 2.67 gigahertz with a i5, I think, Core i5, something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
but it's set up to look like an Amiga.
Yep. So he rips off the broken display. Who needs the displays?
With an external monitor.
Yep.
In fact, one of these drove both of the two big monitors. But every once in a while, if the monitor starts to dim and the dreaded Windows icon comes up,
Oh yeah, to just bat that away. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to look at that. Very, very clever. Hello there. What kind of goodies we have going on over here?
I brought my X5000.
Uh huh.
And but I've been running various programs on it.
Oh, nice. Nice. What's running here now?
Right now it's IRC Wookiee Chat.
Oh, fun. IRC Wookiee Chat. Cool stuff. Beautiful machines, aren't they?
They are.
Here's a nice Mister. Look at this case on the Mister. Nice custom case, 3D printed. This one's one of the one that's split down the middle, not full print, but it's still gorgeous. Great paint job. And the keys change color, the LEDs change color on here, which is kind of cool. And nice custom joystick, made of metal. Matches the Jerry's machine over there, the yellow with the black stripe. Beautiful equipment. We've got nice Raspberry Pis running Amiga. So here's Raspberry Pi and Amiga 1200. Raspberry Pi, Amiga 1200. But good old-fashioned 1084. And this honestly reminds me, guys, why I use LCDs for all of my Amigas. We can't have an Amiga show without a CD32 on display. Unfortunately, it's not connected right now. And the world's most beautiful Amigas, the Amiga 3000, with some kind of horrendous abomination sitting on the top, corrupting it. Ugh, gonna have to disinfect the Amiga after that. And what do we got over here? You got one of my favorite accelerator cards, an ACA 500 Plus.
500 Plus with an ACA 1221 LC. ACA Innovision ECS inside, running OS 3.2.
Yep, they're lovely. Those ACA cards are fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, I took mine once and I put my Blizzard 040 card in it from my Amiga 1200. Booted right up, worked fine. Oh, saw the 040, saw the 64 megs of RAM. They're really ingenious creations.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I've always wanted to try, and I have no idea if it would work, is to take one of the Amiga 1200 Vampires and hook it up. I have no idea if it would even possibly work or see it or what, but
I thought the same thing.
yeah, I'm gonna try it. What's the worst that can happen? It can go up in smoke and you're out, you know, $500-600 bucks. Thanks. Now, some people just don't know when to stop. You know, most of these people, they'll bring one Amiga, you know, 1.5 Amigas. This narcissistic person ends up bringing like 411 Amigas to the show. Look at that. He brings his Amiga 1200. Ooh, it's got a vampire. Brings his Amiga 3000. Hi, Debbie. His beautiful Amiga 600 from his good friend Tim Drew. And this little guy right here, we've got our Pi 400, and we have a beautiful copy of Turbo Tomato, which people have been enjoying here today. And then we've got our Amiga 1200, which will be making an appearance with my speech in a little while. Over here we have Alex Perez, who is the reseller of some of the best SCSI to SD devices on the face of the earth.
Manufacturer.
Manufacturer. Well, you sell them, you know. So he's also got a lot of other goodies that he sells in the store. I recommend checking it out. I'll put the link right down here. How are sales going today? You broken a million yet, or?
Oh yeah, totally blown it away. Yeah.
Great, fantastic, fantastic. And here we have Bill Bersari's Amiga 1200. Wait a minute here. Something's not right here. What? Oh, this is cheating. Look at this. Look at this. That's not fair. That ain't right. At least it's not an Apple keyboard. Over here we have some of the remnants of the abyss where people are digging through and finding cool Amiga stuff and making an offer on it. I picked up some cool things that I'll show you a little bit later. But there's some great software in here. There was some great hardware, some deals that were just phenomenal. For example, I picked up two 1200 baud modems. I mean, seriously, where are you gonna find such awesome pieces of and useful pieces of equipment? I can't wait to get home and use them to I don't know, sit on the wall. Got a bunch of floppy disks, but these are backup disks, legitimate backup discs from the original just so the originals weren't damaged. Trust me. DigiView Gold, everyone recognizes that. And I'll probably go through here and pick through and see what else is left. They have a great setup for streaming. Lots of place for people to sit and watch the shows. Lots of really nice equipment here. A lot of it run by our good old Robert Bernardo and Bill Borsari. There's Bill right there. Hello, Bill. Really, really nice equipment. They're not using the video toaster this year like they're using a couple years ago, but that's okay. Here's where the magic happens. Right over here. This is Bill's desk. Great job streaming this year, fine, sir.
I appreciate that.
Everything working out good, huh?
Yeah, no, it's been a good year from that perspective. The technology has been cooperating. The internet works at the hotel now. Like
Nice.
Years past, we've had to do some insane, but all digital. We were talking about that earlier. The whole digital environment. I used to bring a video toaster. I'm actually using an X5000 to do the titling and overlay,
Oh, now that's really cool.
so I can show that.
Yeah, please. I'd love to see it.
So this is what is going out to the internet right now.
Okay, you're using OBS for that on a PC.
OBS and PC, very familiar interface, some nice plugins. It's a pretty cool tool. But over here, this is my X5000 running a Hollywood script that I created.
Oh.
And these are basically just links. So if I want to fire up the sponsors, it's a Hollywood designer page with a green background, and then I chroma key out the green, shift it a little bit, and there it goes.
Look at that. Look at that. He chroma keys out the green, comes right up. That is fantastic. That's too cool. So we're still using Amigas for video work even today.
Even today.
Nice.
With the system, it's quite amazing. And I've got the video playing. It was kind of funny when the video of Hans was playing. When this was playing, and he was talking about the development. Here, let me jump ahead. And showing the DV player. It's this version of DV player that he's showing. It's very meta. That he's because this is the new DV player that was released for OS4 this weekend.
Okay.
It's a beta tester. And it plays videos fantastically well.
It certainly does.
It's just very meta that it's like it's a video and he's running the same one playing, you know what I'm saying? Like it's nested. Anyway.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, the audio. Hopefully the audio quality's been good. That's the hardest part of all of this.
Oh, sure.
Is getting the audio stuff working. We've got
Nice
3
audio
different
equipment.
mixers plugged together to make all that work. But I think we got it dialed in.
Yeah,
That had
yeah.
been a big problem for many years, but I think we really got it dialed in now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and thank you for all your hard work on everything here.
Well, thank you for coming. It's fantastic.
Appreciate it. Here we have the master technician at work.
We have a strip screw.
Trying to open up. That's what pliers are for. Just get in there and twist it and swearing. Swearing helps tremendously.
Definitely. A part of that problem. Oh yeah, this is
You got some nice equipment here. And Chris here was the hero of the show. He replaced, what was it, a Gale adapter in Bill's machine that was flaking out, and you used your masterful soldering skills to fix that?
I wouldn't quite describe him as masterful, but we got the job done.
It's okay. You can lie, man. Nobody's going to watch this stuff anyways. So this is Chris's Amiga 600. This one came from Paul Resendez. It's got a vampire in here and a couple of other little goodies. It's one of those Vampire 600s. So it's pretty nice. So you think he'll notice if I swap this out with my Amiga 600? Yeah, he'll probably notice. Beautiful. That was a lot of fun. That was great getting to know everyone. Everyone had fantastic booths presenting fantastic pieces of hardware, showing them off. Thanks, everybody. Now, in the past, and actually for several years, I understand that next-gen Amigas were kind of the concentration of AmiWest. Now, I'm not sure if that's true anymore, because I think classic Amigas outnumbered next-gen Amigas, probably 2-to-1 or so, and possibly one specific guest kind of tipped the scales there, if you remember that from the video. Now, both Saturday and Sunday were full of fantastic speakers. The entire speaker schedule you can find right on the AmiWest website. And we had people like Trevor Dickinson speaking remotely. We had fantastic people like Muad'Dib, who's a good pal of mine, who did a great show on 3D and Lightwave on the Amiga. We had a fantastic presentation on the A1222 board, formerly known as the Tabor board, and its current state, its current advantages, its current shortcomings. Please watch that. I'll have the links to a lot of those shows in the description too. They're right on Bill Bersari's channel. And Bill did a fantastic job of coordinating the video streaming this year from everybody. So he gets a big round of applause. It was wonderful that the show can be a mix of both live guests like myself and virtual guests too. That was really great. That really was a lot of fun. And I think that should continue. I think the whole live stream and virtual guest thing should continue into the future because it just brings our community closer together for those who can't actually be there. Now in the end, we helped several people get their Amigas working that weren't working. One guy brought in his Amiga 4000. He'd just gotten some 3.1 ROMs for it, bought them on eBay, put them in his machine wouldn't boot, and then he couldn't find his old 3.0 ROMs. He brought his whole computer to the show, and between myself and 2 or 3 other guys, we ended up helping him out. We actually had one guy, who I'll talk about here in a minute, he had a ROM burner with him, burned him a new set of ROMs right there at the show. We plugged them in, boom, the machine cracked right off. So it's great to experience things like that, to be able to help people and get things up and running for them at a show like this. Now I picked up a few goodies at the show, and one of them relates to the story I just told you about the gentleman who had the ROMs reburned for his Amiga 4000. Now Chris Hooper designed some cool things for the Amiga, and he donated a few to the channel for me to do some reviews on in the future. One of them is like this Amiga 2000 socket adapter that actually has the 68,000 socket vertically instead of horizontally, which is kind of cool. He's got some Raspberry Pi RGB to HDMI interfaces that I can't wait to try out on my Amiga 2000. This is a honey of one that has the HDMI port built in, 3 buttons, CPLD chip. This is going to be a really, really nice board. So thanks Chris Hooper for that donation. We'll do a show in November about it. This is so cool. Replacement ROM tower for the Amiga 3000s. Some early generation Amiga 3000s had this crazy little tower that plugged into the ROM sockets and had 2 ROMs hanging down. Had to do with the way the kickstarts worked before they were completely finished. If you've broken your ROM tower, now there's plans on Chris's GitHub for designing your own replacement ROM tower, which is so cool. And I'll have links to all his stuff in the description. And one of the cool things that I haven't figured out yet, but I will, this is an actual EEPROM burner, but this little guy burns 2 megabyte EEPROMs that you use with a special interface, which is also in the little magic box down there, to create kind of custom ROMs for your Amiga, or even have 2 ROMs on one actual ROM and then be able to switch between 2 1 megabyte ROMs. So I'm looking forward to hooking this up. It only works with a Linux machine, but it should work fine on my Raspberry Pi, and learning how this little guy works. So thanks Chris Hooper, you're awesome. Now I'm afraid there's going to be some jealousy with this one, some real jealousy, because I picked up some original Amiga 1000 1200 baud modems. That's right, 4 times faster than your 300 baud modem. I mean, just imagine, when I get this thing on CompuServe, I'll be able to download an 880K floppy in 5 hours. Blazing fast. Can you imagine that? It used to take us 20 hours. I bought 2 of these. One of them I'm going to use just to kind of put with my Amiga 1000, which is such a great match. It's going to look nice sitting next to it. The second one, I'm going to use the case, and we're going to do something fun with it. Take out the guts and replace it with something interesting, like I don't know, external Gotek, maybe Edu Arana's external Gotek in here. I don't know. If you have any ideas on what kind of cool projects we can do with this case that are Amiga-centric, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Now this I'm excited about. This is an authentic Amiga 1020 5¼ inch drive. I've honestly, in my 33 years with the Amiga, have never seen one in the flesh. Now, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, gosh, Doug, that looks an awful lot like a Commodore 1571, that's because it pretty much is. I was doing some research on it. It's the guts of a 1571 with different electronics, slightly different case, but pretty much the same drive. Now, this one works, it's recognized, it sees it. With a with an A1020 drive, you have to create a mount list for it. It doesn't pick it up like a regular 3.5 inch floppy drive, but it doesn't format a disk from the tests I've done. Could just be dirty heads, could just need some lubrication. So I'm thinking we'll do a show on this with a little history of it and pop her open, clean it up, and see if we can get this thing working. Beautiful though. Now lastly, I picked this up for my 8-bit stuff. This is a genuine VIC 1525 printer, which is really cool because it's the white printer color. It's similar to the MPS 801, but it's not the same. I've read some places online they're the same printer. They're not. Completely different drive mechanism. Unfortunately, I've searched everywhere and I can't find any cartridges or any ribbons for this anywhere. So I've got some re-inking stuff, and I figured it'd be fun to do an episode on re-inking dot matrix printers. So we're going to hook this up with the old VIC-20 and the 1540 drive and the data set and have a beautiful match set and see if we can get some printing going on this in a future episode. Now, other people at the show, you saw in my little video the area where people could go through hardware and software and just make an offer on what they wanted. There was a CyberGrafx 64 3D card in there. Some guy picked it up, $20. There was, I think, a Retina card in there, $20. SCSI cards, memory cards, cheap. Now, me, I wanted to buy it all. I wanted to just pack up my truck with all of it, but then I thought, Doug, you already own half this stuff. Leave it for somebody else. So I just got a few things that I didn't own, and I'm happy. Big thanks to all of my wonderful patrons for helping me out so much over these years, and especially big thanks to my brand new patrons, including the one and only Robert Bernardo, who you see on screen right now. Robert is an absolute gem in the Commodore community, mostly in the 8-bit, but also in the Amiga. He puts on a show down in Los Angeles every year that I can't wait to be a part of, and he's an all-around great guy. So thank you, Robert, for joining my Patreons, and also to my newest patron, Surfbud. I really appreciate that, and I hope to get to know you. The link to my Patreon is right in the description, and all of the proceeds go to support the show and help me buy useless hardware like the A1020 drives and 1200 baud modems to review. In a nutshell, come to AmiWest 2022 if you can. It's a lot of fun. You're going to meet a lot of really great people. You're going to be around a lot of really great Amigas and learn a tremendous amount. If you can't come as a vendor to show your stuff off, come down for a day or two as a guest. It's an absolute blast, and trust me, we have a lot of fun there. Thanks for joining me today. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and tell me stories about Amiga shows that you've gone to in the past, or what you think Amiga shows should be in the future. I'd love to hear about you. I'd love to get into a discussion with you about what you think about the future of Amiga shows. But until next time, this is Doug from 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast, signing out to finish downloading that floppy on my 1200 baud modem from CompuServe.